Hey guys, this Litter Magic here, and it's finally time for another MTG Mistakes video. Why has it been so long since I've made one? Well, I can't really think of any major mistakes that people are still making that I haven't covered so far. I'm sure they're out there, I just can't really think of them. Now this one is pretty darn subtle, and I honestly don't think it would be enforced at FNM. Also, this is not a legal method of playing at non-FNM levels, like at tournaments. But just for fairness, I should probably mention this, because really, you should stop doing this. Oh, and a little tiny detail, other people might be doing this on purpose to cheat. Let me throw out a scenario that's relevant to right this second. So you're drafting Eternal Masters, which costs a fortune. You pull a card that's worth a fortune, like, I don't know, a foil Maze of Ith, or just something absurdly expensive like that. Typically, if this isn't an official tournament, you would, just so you don't damage the card while shuffling or any of that, you want it pack fresh, ultra mint, you do not want to knock down the price of it, especially if it was like a Force of Will. Oh my gosh, foil Force of Will? You would typically not play with the card, but if you have a Force of Will, my god, you want to play with the card. So you get this paradox. Do you do better at the draft and then potentially, do $50 worth of damage to a card? Or do you not play with the card and do worse at the draft because, hello, the cards are expensive because they're powerful? So the obvious solution, and this might actually be news to some of you, is just take another card, flip it over, whatever you have to do, and write with a Sharpie on it and make a proxy. So you could keep yours in, a nice sleeve inside of a top loader, keep that separate, that's your reference, that's the actual version of the card, and then you've just got like some land card or something with, a Sharpie written on, what it is. So you'd write like foil Maze of Ith. I suppose you wouldn't have to write foil, but Maze of Ith. And then when you want to, when you pull it, then you think, okay, I'm going to go look at my actual copy, which is heavily protected and not in the deck, and that's my reference. So proxying like this is nothing new. People do it all the time. Hopefully now, if you didn't know that, you now do that because it's a great way to protect your really expensive cards. Here's the problem. Okay, when you're drafting, lands aren't exactly just floating around, okay? You never have enough lands. You have to, use the store's lands, use your own lands. Then you got to return them, so you probably don't want to draw on them. It's not ideal to grab a land. So what are you going to grab? A token, right? Wrong. Fun fact that I guarantee 95% of you don't know, there's two reasons that tokens can't be in a deck. One, the rules state that tokens can't be in a deck, they're not like real cards. And two, they are thinner and lighter. If you put a token in a sleeve and you put a regular card in a sleeve, and you put one in each of my hands, I'll be able to tell you within about a second which one is lighter. I mean, it's that significant. I would say that probably the average person would be able to tell which one is heavier and which one is lighter. There are some cases in which you would be holding a card and not looking at it. Like you have to do two face down piles or one face up, one face down pile, like the new crappy February promo. If you're holding them in your hand but not looking at them, which honestly is kind of bad, you should probably have them on the table if they're supposed to be face down. But still, if you're cheating, you're cheating. You could probably tell, hey, this one contains the proxy, which is written on a token. So what's the MTG mistake I'm referencing? Stop using tokens as proxies. They are not the correct weight or thickness. If you don't believe me or you just want to demonstrate this for your friends, take a card you don't like. Hell, take a card you do like. I mean, I don't tell you how to live your life. So rip that sucker in half and you'll see that it is actually two different cards or two different physical pieces of paper, or as some people call it, cardboard. That's debatable as to whether you could really call it cardboard. It certainly isn't corrugation, but it's only debatably cardboard. I would call it 130-pound paper, because that's what it is. Anyway, it's two pieces of paper glued together with a blue resin. And if you're like, oh my gosh, there's something blue inside my cards, I never knew that, yeah, just go rip one in half, seriously. But as far as every token I've ever ripped in half, which honestly is not that many, so, it might not be 100% accurate here, but the last couple that I ripped in half were only one ply. They were not stuck together with resin. Anything that makes a card different automatically disqualifies it from very picky rules enforcement levels. I've heard of curling foils getting kicked out of a deck and replaced by a proxy by a judge because they're considered marked cards because they're curved. I mean, you can tell that they're curved from the back of the card through the sleeve, and that's, now you know it's coming. You know which card it is sitting in your library. You know if it's on top of your deck. So yeah, allegedly at tournaments, you can have that card eliminated and replaced. Now, honestly, I don't know that much about this, but they replace it with a Wizards official proxy, which I'm going to take a wild guess is probably 2-ply. If their actual proxies are lighter, holy crap, are people cheating the system. Although you'd be risking a warning and maybe a game loss or something for, stacking your deck or rigging it, marking your cards inadvertently, whatever. Probably not, but still. If the potential is there and they see a recurring pattern, you're going to get in trouble. So now you know the next time you see somebody getting out their Sharpie to create a proxy for a really expensive card during a draft or really any other reason, tell them not to do it because you're a petty rules enforcing dick. Oh, and also assume they're cheating. Okay, just kidding. It's something to mention if you think they won't be terribly offended, and just don't do it yourself. Hopefully that helps you guys out, and I'll see you next video.